Hello everyone, Synthetic Black here. I've changed up my recording setup a little bit. It's been a little bit since my last video, I'll be honest. Big reason for that was because I was a little freaked out by the success of the last video. It just put on a lot of pressure, and I spent some time making sure that I could make videos again like I used to. So, I want to give a quick update on what I've been working on. I have gone and done the paint jobs for my critical location, which I made a custom um, indicator for, I guess. A captured model, I guess you could say that is. Um, just kind of a black stone looking thing. And of course, the relic, which turned out pretty much spot on for what I wanted. When I would play Dawn of War, this is what I would see in my head. This is what I emotionally felt when I was playing that game. So I pretty much hit like exactly like spot on with what I intended. So this is exactly it. I wasn't able to really record what I I did to paint these. That was part of trying to do a better recording setup. Some of it just didn't work. Some of it didn't record. Some of the files corrupted, and I was just not willing to do it again. That brings me to the next model I put out. I'm putting out today, which is a plasma generator. You would recognize this from the Space Marines. Um, what's significant about this is um, I've been working on this one for a long time, and I heavily referenced the texture from in the game as I built this model, and I was able to get it to print out at a high detail. If you look at these tiny, tiny, tiny little details, if I can just zoom in and get the right focus there. Got these tiny, tiny little vents that are popping out here. Um, and this is all in one print. This is one job, one go. I didn't glue anything here. This is all just printed out as one piece. So technically, I'm going to be painting this up today as part of this video, and this is by definition actually a failed print. So if you look, the bed adhesion didn't work as well for some reason. I'm still sorting that out on this printer. But that doesn't bother me as much because I think that this is a really good um, print, and I'm proud of it and I'm happy with it. I'd actually done this one years and years ago, and I tried to print it out on an FDM printer, and it was just terrible. It just didn't work, and I didn't like it. So yeah, this is gonna be it. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing this as red. I'm probably gonna be doing it in a more generic metallic color. Um, so we'll see from there. But yeah, I mean, with an FDM printer, like getting some of these smaller, tinier details to just get in there properly at any orientation work. This thing actually printed directly out of the resin like this, so it wasn't difficult at all to get this at this detail level from there. Yeah, so it should print out just fine even on an Anycubic Photon, which is my old printer, and yeah, pretty happy with it. So with that, we'll clear the board here and we will get to work. Um, so yeah, we're pretty pleased with it. I'm pretty pleased with this. One of the biggest things that I've been focusing on with, frankly, all these pieces is just the reliability in printing. Um, I want something that you can just stick on the build plate, add supports, and it will print. So, on a resin printer, at least. So that means that as long as you have your bake settings, like for bed adhesion, which I'm still working on, working properly, and your slice settings are calibrated correctly for your resin, as long as you're keeping your resin at the right temperature, these will print. These will not fail. Um, in this particular one, the only area you needed supports were on the bottom. No supports are needed on any other part of this, including this inner space right here. It requires no supports whatsoever. So cleanup is minimal on all of these, uh, and they're designed to just kind of work. So So we'll get started on painting this guy. I'm not 100% sure how I want to paint him. I'm probably going to get some fluorescent effects in here to kind of give it that glowing look. We'll see. We're going to go for a rocky base to offset the tilt in the model. We'll use Milliput to do this. I'm going to make a batch and form it into spheroids. I'm choosing Milliput because it doesn't shrink like air-dried clay, and it doesn't need to go in the oven. I've never baked a resin print, and I don't want to find out what would happen if I did. I don't want to die from those fumes. Now, I don't show this on camera, but after the putty cures, I use a Dremel to facet the stones. I use tile grout and paint to add a dirt effect between the stones. We prime it black, and we dust it with a white gray. This step is not about what it does to the paint, but more about making the details visible. Sometimes for underpainting, but mainly just making it easier to actually see what I'm doing. The interior of this model glows, and I picture it as a blue-green glow in context of paint. The specifics don't matter to me, but I want some texture inside. I lay down a blue-white and then I glaze green. I begin detailing areas with German gray. This model has never been painted by anyone before, so I'm figuring it out as I go. In part, I'm seeing if I can paint this effectively without having to separate the model and print into smaller sections. Areas that are eventually going to be hazard stripes, I put down several layers of white just to support the yellow contrast paint I'm going to use to make this process easier. After that, I throw down some metallics. In this case, it's a dark aluminum. It's very liquid colored. It doesn't run and it doesn't cake, so it's that perfect consistency to get this right. It's at this moment that I consider painting this thing blue, but I paint it red anyway. I do that by using 4 separate red colors and then a harmonizing glaze of bloodletter across the whole thing, and it just ends up working. Bloodletter's a glaze they don't sell anymore, so good luck. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. At least the red. So if you've noticed, my voice has changed throughout this video. That's because, yes, this video took a long time to get out, and most of that was because I was dog sick. We've had a bug going around where I live, as well as forest fires coming out of Canada, north of where I am. So it's been a while. So these are looking like Christmas colors until I put on some basic contrast paint. I find contrast paint is like the easiest hack yellow out there. I like using it. I've had some success spraying it out of an airbrush. In this case, I'm just brushing it on. When I'm doing hazard stripes, and I hate hazard stripes. I don't know anyone who likes hazard stripes. But if you're going to do it, I like to pencil them in, just the basics of where they're going to go, and then go in with some black. Sometimes you got to neaten up a little bit. But hazard stripes is always a tense thing for me. It's one of the last things I'll do on a model. And really, I can't think of a good reason to do them first. It was a pain. So the last thing I want to talk about in this video before I get this out and posted is copyright. So this particular model is almost identical to the model that's in Dawn of War. There are some liberties I took with it. There are some subtle differences. I didn't put skulls in this version of it, but it's close. Closer than I like. I'm a big fan of this model, so I'm making it for me, so this is what you get. I've noticed that Dawn of War Definitive Edition is coming out, and Games Workshop also put out a Dawn of War tabletop game through Target. And it seems to me that they're going to start tightening down on Dawn of War STLs. So I'm not sure how long this is going to be up. The other two models that I put together, I feel like I made them unique enough interpretations that they're mine more so than theirs. It's certainly defensible. I'm not using any of the GW-owned iconography or anything like that. So it should be good. Otherwise, I'm really hoping you enjoyed this. I'm not doing any beauty shots with this particular model other than a basic still. I want to get this out, and I want to move on to the next set of models that I've also been working on, and hopefully get this video out, the next video out sooner rather than later. Thanks so much for watching. If you like the video, hit subscribe and like and all that fun stuff. Let's not get too into that. I'm putting this model up on Cults, just like the others, and you have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.